We're continuing our coverage of the Department of Justice's decision to seek the death penalty against the racist Tom Smash shooter and what this means for the upcoming litigation in that case.
We're joined now by attorney Terry Connors. He represents several family members of those who were killed and hurt on 5/14. Terry, thank you for joining us.
Good evening.
We heard from Garnell Whitfield tonight that this was expected for him. So how did he expect this? Was that something that you had been hearing? And tell us about your insight on all of that.
Well, there was a lot of speculation as to what was going to happen, and you tried to read the tea leaves, but there wasn't a lot of communication on the topic because it's confidential. They had to go through the committee stages. They had to ultimately, Merrick Garland had to make the decision. But I think a lot of people felt that because the notice that went out a few days ago that said, come today for a substantial update, many people thought that's what it was going to be.
Okay.
I'm wondering if it's a challenge for you because you represent people who have different beliefs in this very, obviously, highly charged and emotional decision that was made by the Department of Justice. Some of your clients are supportive of this decision. Some are indifferent. Others are against it. How was it, again, respecting confidentiality, but how was it in that room today when your clients and others found out?
You know, Kelsey, earlier you used the term historic, and sitting there, and I've been practicing for a number of years, it was historic. But the worst part of it was, as I was sitting there and the decision was read by the very top official from the Department of Justice, tears to the eyes of at least 3 of the individuals who were reliving that experience again. Even though they're getting some closure from the fact that they now know the path, they'll never gain closure from the emotional loss.
Oh, absolutely not. Historic. You represent about 7 people, is that correct?
Well, 7 families who lost loved ones and 2 who were seriously injured.
Okay. And about how many of them kind of agree with this and how many kind of don't?
Well, it's probably split down the middle if you were to take a poll, but many of them feel as though life imprisonment may be a more serious and more difficult penalty for him. Others feel as though maximum punishment ought to be inflicted because if you're not going to impose a death penalty in this case, when are you going to use it?
Yeah.
There has been no quote-unquote trial that people perhaps are used to when you think of the stereotypical trial. There will be more of that now that this case will reach the death penalty phase. Can you walk us through that broadly? Because I know that there are a million different scenarios and things like that, but this is a process that could take, at the federal level, years, right?
Even if you were able to push for a speedy trial, there was some discussion about that in the courtroom today. Even if you had a trial this year, at the end of this year, you still have layers of appeals that go through the appellate courts all the way up to the United States Supreme Court because so much is at issue. You know, the life of someone is at issue. So there's a lot of procedural safeguards which complicate things.
And some of the victims were saying today, some of them want some of this information now out there. What is some of that information that they're referencing? Maybe pictures that could be out there? What is some of that?
Well, all along, the families have said, tell us what motivated him. Tell us what radicalized him. How did he turn into this monster? What did he look at on the internet? What did he study? And that information, we are starting to get all that information in the civil case as well, but the government has obtained a lot of that because they did an extensive grand jury investigation. So I think that's some of the information that the families would love to share.
Okay.
We know that the families, at least some of them, they had the option, some of them took it, to face the top shooter. Will they have that opportunity again at some point, I'm assuming, in this death penalty phase, to read a victim statement, to face this person? And did any of them react, did any of your clients react today to that possibility to you?
Well, they certainly will play an important role. They are likely to be witnesses as well. Some of them may be fact witnesses because some of them were on the scene really quickly after the event, after the massacre. So they'll definitely be in that role. But also, if it moves into the penalty phase, they'll have the ability to tell the judge and the jury what they went through. And they'll be witnesses sworn, they'll give their testimony, and they'll influence the jury one way or the other.
So difficult, though. I mean, they've had to relive this over and over and over again. It will be relived over and over and over again.
You know, Kelsey, these people are remarkable.
Yeah.
They're remarkable with the loss that they've sustained, and yet they still try to find something positive out of it. You've seen Garnell, you've seen Mark Talley, you've seen Pam Pritchett. All of them try to make something positive out of one of the most negative things in their lives. I can't tell you how impressed I am with them and how devoted we are to seek justice.
And we lost some
Right.
of the most amazing people in this community.
Yeah.
The stories we told afterward, it was just one amazing person after another.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with all the vignettes that describe their lives, and they did some wonderful things in this community. And now their legacy is their families are doing the same.
Terry, you helped to carry on that legacy through your clients. Thank you for representing them. Thank you for the work that you've done thus far, and certainly much more work ahead for you and your colleagues as well.
Yeah, my honor.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Terry.